Old Jazz and her brother Sammy can eat with a fork. Watch this. Yeah, I know, I get a little dog germs. Oh well. Whatever. Alright, getting ready to go on the big adventure. Gonna take Jazz with me. We're gonna go to the Hoosier National Forest, camp out on the trail tomorrow night, and be a short trip and return home the following day. So Jazz, I would imagine you're pretty excited to hit the trail? Yep. And Sammy, you're in charge of staying home and guarding the cabin. Alright. Jazz, you're about ready, girly? Woo! That's what I'm talking about. So this is the backpack that I'll be using. I'm breaking out the big boy, the Dana Design TerraFrame K2. It's actually a frame pack, an external frame pack. So I'm going to step on the scale, see what I weigh, and then see what the pack weighs. I'm about 185, somewhere in that neighborhood. All right, I got the TerraFrame on, the K2 Dana Design TerraFrame. Let's see what it's going to weigh in. I know this is a lot of gear. I would never do this if I was going 2 or 3 or 4 days out. I just have to figure out how to do things differently. But just a one-nighter like this, it's not too bad. I've taken a lot of extra things like a big 2-person tent. You know, could almost be considered a 3-person tent, shoulder to shoulder. Thought about maybe not even taking a tent. You know, that would drop off probably 15 pounds right there. Jazz, to be able to be inside with me, being that this is her first time out in the woods. I don't want like coyotes or something to come up and then her just jump up and take off. I want her to be kind of contained next to me. When you're a YouTube creator, you just have a lot of camera gear, batteries, and all that kind of stuff you just always have to take. There's a lot of stuff that goes into videos like this. Okay, so let's see. We were 185. And let's see what we are right now. Okay, so I was 185, 95, 205, 215, 225, and another 5. So 45 pounds, that's not bad if I'm figuring that up right. Especially with a big TerraFrame like this. 45 pounds, wow. Okay. Very cool. That makes me feel a lot better. All of a sudden makes this pack feel a lot lighter. Anyways, we're going to take off tomorrow morning. All excited about it. We're going to set up camp. Going to almost get 50 degrees tomorrow, so everything's going to be really sloppy and muddy, but we're going to give it a shot. Hey, I hope you come along. Get yourself a good night's sleep. See you in the morning. All right, I'm super excited today. Me and Jazz, hello Jazz. Me and Jazz are gonna go hike the 2 Lakes Loop Trail at Indian Salina Lake recreational area. Should be a lot of fun. Probably go 2 or 3 miles into the forest, set up camp for the night. Probably head back tomorrow. It's gonna be a real short trip, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Woo, gonna be a little bit chilly, but really, for the 1st of February, not bad at all. Got the Liberty all warming up. Got a little frosty last night. We delayed this trip by a couple days because there's so much moisture in the air, but today's looking pretty good. There's a chance of rain maybe this evening, but right now, blue skies. So far it's been a tough year for the firewood. Man, I'm cutting so much of it. Still heading out in the woods and grabbing more. When you take a doggy along on a trip like this, there's a lot of little extras you got to take. Just like if you're going to take a kid along with you on an adventure, hey, you got to take care of them. That's for sure. This comfy bed here is not going backpacking with us, but it'll be a nice ride for Jazz to the Hoosier National Forest. I always have a checklist inside, and what I do is as I'm loading up right now, anything left over, I look at it. Like I just saw on the checklist, sunglasses. So I'll go over to the Montana. Oh, sorry about that, Montana. You're not going this time. Montana loves those road trips. Anyway, watch out, Sam. Now, when it comes to backpacking, that's it. That's everything I'm going to need right there in that backpack. So I like to have everything all set up, so when I get to the trailhead, I pull up, grab my keys, secure a few things, grab my pack, and go. I don't like to linger at a trailhead very long, just because if somebody has ill intentions and they pull up, they can kind of watch you. They see what you look like, they put on, they see when you take off. They're going to break in. A lot of times that'll happen. This time it'll be grabbing my pack and grabbing the Jazz. And we're going to hit the trail. Somebody pulls up. They have no idea who I am. They have no idea how long I've been gone, when I'll be back. Works pretty good. All right. Me and the Jazz have officially taken off. Hoosier National Forest is about an hour away. It all depends on traffic and everything. So we're going to go over there to Salina Lake. A lot of fun. Jazz, you ready to go? Yeah, driving down this country road right here. The thought entered my head, it won't be long before the old Jeep will have the old Selvin behind it. Fishing season's coming up fast. Here it is, February 1st. Time flies, don't it? Wow. Yeah, once you get past Ferdinand, Indiana, heading east on Interstate 64, you'll start to see the Hoosier National Forest come into focus. Just a beautiful, pristine. Well, we got trouble with the tractor today. That dang old tractor today. I'm gonna go to the dealer and get myself a new one, and then I'm gonna really have to pay. You know, people ask me, Mr. Lawrence, why do you come up with them little funny songs that you sing? I'm just driving down there in Interstate 64, and I looked out on an old farm, and there was a tractor with the hood up. The guy standing there looking at it, scratching his head. So you kind of see where I get my ideas, my inspiration. All right. So glad to be back. It says the South Slope Campground is closed now. North Face Campground is still open. And day use is free at this time. All right. These are the current camping prices for the winter. Electric 15, Senior Pass 10. All right, so there is the trail. Do some camping tonight. If you need any information, you can always get a hold of the Tell City Ranger Station. It actually looks like somebody has been cleaning up. They got a rake, a saw, picked up some trash. That's a pretty good deal. Somebody's doing some trail maintenance. I wanted to stop in there for a minute to make sure that's the official trailhead right there. And I just wanted to make sure they haven't put anything in motion like trail permits. You know, a lot of places, like out in the Northeast and stuff, in the Pacific Northwest, they'll have, you gotta fill out a trail permit in order to go out on the trail. So it looks to me like nothing in place. Just go out there, have a good time, make sure you don't leave any trash. What they say is leave your footprints only take memories with you. We're gonna go right down the road here, and we're gonna park and get ready to go. Got ready, Jazz? Alright, there we go. Woo! How was that for a fun drive? Well, I tell you what, first thing I noticed, I pull up to the forest, it's pretty windy out here. So even though today it's almost going to get around 50 degrees or so, you got that wind, you got that wind chill factor going on. Everything's going to be really wet, so if you happen to do something like this, precautions, be careful, because it is winter time. And I tell you what, hypothermia is a real threat. Hello, Jazz. All right. Good, buddy. Good job. It's a little bit of a challenge when you hike with a dog. You should really have it on a leash if you're on the main trails. Challenge when you're a YouTube creator, because what I got to do is now I've got to take my tripod and my camera. I've got my other camera with me right here, and I got to deal with the leash at the same time. So it's a little bit of a struggle, but it's a lot of fun. If you get the chance, definitely take your dog hiking and backpacking and camping. Now, another thing that's kind of a little bit of a challenge is normally with a backpack, especially this size, I would have my trekking poles, 2 trekking poles, give myself four-wheel drive, coming up and down hills, makes it really nice. When I've got camera gear, tripods, got a leash to deal with, cameras hanging around my neck, it's a little bit harder to use trekking poles, so I'm just kind of on my own. Just got to be careful, don't slip and fall. And what it's doing is actually going to hook up with the main trail. So this is it right here. But you can see it's not easy to tell because of all the leaves and stuff. In the wintertime, they all kind of look the same. But there's the sign you want to pay attention to. There's the sign you don't want to miss, or you're going to go way out of your way on the way back. You see right there, you are here. And what we're going to do is go ahead and go on down this trail, and we're going to head over toward Indian Lake. Yeah, my plan here is to find a nice little spot, maybe by a down dead tree, so I can have some firewood to cut up. I'm going to build a little shelter, although we did bring a tent along with us too, but not a bad time to practice a little shelter. There sounds like there's about a 25% chance of a shower coming by late tonight, or early tonight, late tonight. So I want to make sure I got all that covered. Jazz is a pretty good hiking dog. As soon as I get away from the trail, I'm supposed to camp about at least 100 feet away from the trail or so. So once I get far off the trail, I'll go ahead and let Jazz go. Not much chance of a hiker walking up on her, at that point. But when I'm walking on the trail, I see a lot of people out here. And a lot of people have their dogs with them. And I just don't want a big dog fight to start up. I think the rules are even, you got to keep your dog on a leash anyways. Hoosier National Forest. This is beautiful. It is a midwinter camping trip, backpacking trip. We're well on our way. Woo! Can't wait to cook a little eggs and spam tonight. Yummy! Jazz is gonna get a little bit of that too. Woo! probably 100 yards off the trail. I've got Jazz loose now, so she can kind of just sniff around and look around. I got to remember to keep a good eye on her. A dog, if you're not careful, kind of sneak away and you don't realize it. Okay, I kind of like this spot right here. It's pretty nice. You know, I kind of want a little bit of a slope. I'll be able to put my tarp up. Yeah. This is looking pretty good right here. Oh yeah. Look here. I thought there'd be a creek down here. So I've got running water, which is good. I think I'm going to set up right here. This looks pretty nice. All right, I think this is looking pretty good. I've got a couple trees here. I'm going to go ahead and put a rope between. I'm going to put a tarp down in case that rain comes up tonight. I've got a little bit of a slope right here. You know, I don't want too much of a slope, but I also want to make sure my head is up high. Because I didn't bring a pillow. I brought a little inflatable one, but I thought about taking a plastic bag and filling it full of leaves and using that as a base and then that little pillow on top of it. If you camp with your head downhill, you're going to wake up with a headache every time. So I'm going to scout this out a little bit and see if maybe this is the right spot or if there might be one that might be just a little bit more level. All right, after looking it over, you know, I think I'm going to venture on a little bit. I think that's just too much of a slope right there. Your tent should be level or maybe elevated just a little bit toward the side that your head's going to be on. But if it's too much, you'll constantly slide all night long. Even though you don't realize it, when you go to sleep, it's no big deal. But as your body relaxes, it starts to slide down, and you'll always slide all night long. And I don't want that to happen either. So I think I'm going to venture on. Out here to have fun. Don't get frustrated about anything. Just relax. Pick you a spot, go from there. Hoosier National Forest. It is beautiful out here. Yeah, the thing about a backpacking trip like this right here is I've been on a lot of them that, you know, had as many as 20 miles scheduled for the day. Miles to get to the next shelter or wherever we were going. A trip like this today is, there's no reason to get in any hurry at all, you know. The ground is super soaked. It's got a lot of rocks, very slippery. So really, if you're not careful, the faster you go, the more there's a chance that you could end up crashing and hurting a knee or tailbone or whatever. It's kind of nice just kind of out here, kind of just cruising around and not in any hurry. I'm going to set camp up here. Tried that one place, it didn't work, so went on down about another mile or so. And we're going to see if maybe we can find another one coming up. We're getting closer down to the bottom, close to the creek now. So I got a feeling something's going to be coming up pretty soon. Man, you can tell the Forest Service has been busy through here. It must have been a pretty strong wind come through here and knock all these pines down. Either that or they've got some kind of disease. No, it looks like they're uprooted. That was just a massive gust of wind came through here, a storm, knocked them all down. But they've been out here cutting them up pretty good, keeping the trail pretty clear. Boy, that's pretty. Tall pines. Bet those are 75 to 100 feet tall. Beautiful. Okay, so if you hike the Two Lakes Trail and you take off where I did on the connection trail, when you come up the connection trail, hit the main trail, and you start heading west toward Indian Lake, this is what you're going to come up on. Now, certain times of year in the summer, you can get across it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you got to almost take your boots off or you're going to swamp your boots. But today, I can tell you right now, if you tried to cross that, that'd be shin deep out there in the middle. So you got to remember that. If you're trying to do the trail and you're trying to do the whole loop, the 16-mile loop, you're going to kind of run into a little bit of a problem right here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn around, go back up, head east, back where we came from, and find a place to camp. Because I don't want to cross that and swamp my boots, and I definitely don't want the Jazz to get wet. that would be a real problem in the wintertime. It is reaching close to 50 degrees right now. So it is pretty nice, pretty pleasant. But tonight, it's supposed to get down in the low 30s. And that creates a big problem if you get wet. There's a nice campsite if you kept going west on this trail and you get right by Indian Lake, which isn't very far away from here. There's a pretty nice campsite. In fact, there's another campsite even before it. The problem is it's right on the trail. And I'd rather camp off the trail a good ways than to camp right on the trail or right next to the trail. That's what happens on an adventure. You know, you get through here and you got certain plans you kind of have in your mind, but you might get there and things like this water is too high, so what we're going to do is turn around and go. How's that for a trail dog? Man, she can leap right over stuff like that. I think she's used to that the property at home. Got some areas we just let grow up. A lot of weeds and stickers, and I think she's used to kind of hopping through almost like a deer. So here's a tip for you if you're out hiking, especially in the late fall, winter, early spring, and you're out backpacking and you're going to spend a night out here. As soon as you start getting a little bit warm, like I am right now, unzip. Be sure and let that pressure out inside because it makes a big difference. Now, if I start getting a little bit too warm, I'll definitely take this sock hat off and a lot of steam will go out through the top of my head. That's really important to do that. Make sure you never wear cotton in the outdoors, especially on a backpacking adventure like this in cold weather. Cotton, like a pair of jeans, you know, you may start getting a little bit warm in them. They may start to get a little bit wet. You may slip and fall, get your pants wet. They're not going to dry, and they are literally going to pull heat from your body. Try to stay all with synthetic materials, new age materials that wick that moisture off. You'll be a lot better shape. Of course, you want to have waterproof boots on, for sure. Wet feet would not be good out packing in cold weather. And Jazz, I'm a little concerned about hers. Hey, come on, come on, come on. Don't get in that water. Don't get in that water, BB. Come on, Jazzy. Yeah, that was my concern. Bringing her, you got to be careful about stuff like that. Man, I don't want her to get down in some water, see a fish or something, and dive for it and get all wet. That wouldn't be good. Because it's midday. And that sun right now is as high as it's going to get, and it's going to drop on down to the southwest there. So this is as warm as it's going to get, and it will start to chill off here probably by the hour. Yeah, I was thinking this spot right here didn't look too bad. Tie my tarp up between these two trees. Looks pretty level. I got to looking up. Nah, deadfall. Widowmaker. I think I'm going to pass. Too slow. Well, I thought maybe that spot looked pretty good, but once you stand on it, you see that it's sloped this way, and that's not good. Let's go on up the hill a little bit. What do you think, Jazz? Think it's a good spot? Okay. Jazz says looks good to her, looks good to me. Okay, that should work out pretty good. We're pretty far off the main trail, probably at least a quarter mile, I would think. But we'll be up here all by ourselves, which is really good. Kind of funny is the wind's starting to pick up a little bit. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get this done, get everything set up, you know, probably in a couple hours, we'll cook some supper. Some eggs and spams on the menu. I always bring a little tarp to put down on the ground. That way I can put all my backpack down there, spread all my stuff out, and just start working on it. Makes it real easy than trying to keep digging out of your pack each time. Yeah, good hiking dogs get a little food. A little bit of food. Huh? Can't eat too much now because that's all I brought you. There you go. Uh-oh. There you go. She devours her food so fast. Alright, no more till supper time. And I brought you breakfast. Don't touch it. Hi, bub. How you doing? You having fun camping? Huh? Are you having fun camping? Oh, you're good, boy. You're good. Yeah, you're good. Yeah. We're having fall camping. Oh, you're good. The tarp system works pretty good. Just lay it out, take everything out of your pack, and just put it all out, because you've already packed it once before, so you know basically where everything goes back in again. So makes it really nice. That way there you can go through your stuff, figure out what you need, what you don't need, pack up what you don't need, and then tomorrow morning pack the rest of it up, be on your way. I'm gonna go ahead and hang my tarp right now between those two trees right there. That way there, it'll give me some shelter just in case that rain does come up. I did bring a tent. It does have a rain fly, but what I want to do is, since I'm able to pack a little bit extra weight, it's not a problem for me. I bring a little extra. So for instance, this tarp, if it does rain, all my stuff around the camp right there, the immediate tent area is not going to be wet. My tent's not going to be wet, and it works pretty good. There's a time when I did about 4 days on the Appalachian Trail. Started it down in Springer Mountain, and we went up about 4 days. I actually took a client there, dropped them off, and they started the trail, and they were going to through hike it, but they decided that they changed their mind after being out there not very long at all. I took a pack. I actually took this pack with me, got out there. After the second day, it started raining, and what I found out is, man, when everything gets wet, it gets so much heavier. So like even my tent, if I can keep water off my tent, off the rain fly, it's lighter. It doesn't gain as much weight. Even though it's not supposed to absorb weight, it just seems like it does get a little bit heavier. So what was really nice too is that morning I woke up and it was pouring, just pouring down rain. I was able to take that tarp and it was over the top of my tent. That way I could fold everything up, get my backpack all ready, and at the very last minute, whenever I'm ready to go, take the tarp down, bam, hit the trail. That was a rough trip. Glad I did it though. Every trip I've ever been on, you know, some of them are pretty tough, but at the end of the day, you always say, wow, glad I got out there. The wind is really weird. Sometimes it's not blowing at all, and other times there's nice little gusts that are coming up and really flapping the tarp everywhere. So we'll see how it goes. But time to get some cutting on some steaks. And coming out here like this, it just comes down to having fun. And you know, I kind of look at it as anytime you can do something like that, it's just kind of like a practice time. You know, you're out here kind of homing some skills. I'm not showing you exactly how I'm setting this whole thing up because, you know, if you're interested in building a shelter to survive in, you know, there's all kind of videos on YouTube, you know, and like I belong to a Facebook page, several Facebook pages on survivalists, and one of them is Canadian survivalist page. Excellent, man. Those guys and gals are so good up north. And I mean, when they talk about frigid weather, woo! You know, a couple weeks ago, they were looking down the barrel of negative 40 degrees up there. So they know how to do it. You know, even things like this rope. You know, this was a new spool of rope. It come undone, fell out of my hands, came undone, kind of got messed up. No problem. I'll just figure it out, you know, wind it back up and get to going. So I was able to, nice thing about the forest, always sticks and stuff everywhere. So I was able to cut me some nice, 4 nice steaks right here. I'm gonna go ahead and stake these sides down and see how it goes. Here's another tip for you. You see how I'm dressed? See, like my knives on my side, stuff like that. Now, you know, I do that because that's going to keep me warm tonight and all that. But if you were a character out here looking to cause trouble, I'm not so sure that I'd be the one that you'd want to mess with. I mean, I guess it all depends how desperate you are. So I guess what I'm saying is, when you come out in the wilderness, dress down, dress kind of grunge, maybe, I guess. I don't know. Just dress like a bad news character. If you're out here in shiny new pants and a shiny top and everything is like, you know, right out of a picture book or something, you know, somebody may think you might have a little bit of money, may come in there and mess with you anyways. That's just another thing to think about. Just come out here, grunge out, and look tough. That's what you got to do. All right, the good news is the wind has really died down. It's getting really quiet out here. I hope it's a super quiet night. That would be cool. Yeah, here's one of those uh-oh moments. I got my Marmot 10 out. Marmot Zenith. Had it for a long time, and I've kept very good care of it. Went to get it out. I actually put it together in the living room. Make sure everything was good on it. Well, I'm kind of glad I did, just to prepare myself. Because once I got it out, come to find out, the elastic string, the elastic that goes through and keeps your pose together, had totally lost its elasticity, I guess it is. Completely, 100%. So it's just almost like a regular piece of rope. So what I've got to do is put the pose together now, and I got to be real careful that I make sure that I don't lose any pieces. So I got them counted, 11 pieces per pole. Kind of good to get your stuff out before you go and prepare. I'm pretty sure I can order these new, get them either from Marmot, or I can get them from Amazon, someplace like that, and re-string them. You know, it's the same scenario as the people that call the roofing company and say, hey, my new roof's leaking. And, you know, he installed it, 12 years ago. Same kind of deal. I got to be careful not to lose them in the leaves, but they're pretty shiny. Okay, camp is coming along pretty good. I think that should work, and I could have saved myself probably a pound or two by not bringing a rainfly to the Marmot Zenith. It's the first time I've set this up like this, in a system like this, so I didn't know how it was going to go. I really like to see the wildlife if it comes walking up. So this way here, I kind of got rain protection over the top of me, but I can still see out. So if something comes walking up on me and Jazz tonight, I'll be able to hit it with a flashlight and maybe get some film for you to see. How's that sound? Hey, here's something I normally don't show, but I thought I would because it works pretty good. So I'm running out of rope. I need a couple more pieces, but I've got a couple shorter pieces here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross them, and I'm just going to twist them a couple times. And now, like on this end right here, I will twist it around and then come up through its own loop, like that right there. And the same with this one. I'll twist him around, and I don't know if this is going to show up on camera or not. Bring it through its own loop, tighten it. Now, when you pull the two together, those two knots hit each other. 100%. Long piece of rope, knot tying. Pretty important. you know, that you learn. I use a bowline all the time. Bowlines are my #1 thing to tie. They're easy to tie. The most important thing is they are easy to untie. Even when wet, like if you were towing a boat, as soon as you get it to shore, you can undo it just like that. I'll show you a bowline sometime. I remember finding out about you. Jazzy, what in the world going on, girlie? I remember finding out about you. That's the only line I know to that song. I remember finding out about you. Jazzy, you gotta move, monkey head. Move, monkey head. Bad monkey head. All right. Hey, I think that looks pretty good. Got her nice and tight, so now I'll be able to start putting some things on the inside, get it all ready, and then start collecting some sticks for a nice fire and gonna have a good meal. I've been telling old Jazz about Spam and eggs tonight. Man, she's like excited. She just keeps coming up and begging for it. Jazz, you want some of those Spam and eggs tonight? Huh? What do you think, buddy? Oh, you want a stick? You want me to use that stick on the shelter? Hey, I can use that stick. Okay, collect a bunch of those and we're gonna burn them tonight, okay? That's right. Bring them over here. Bring them over here. Now watch out. Don't jab that in your mouth, son. Oh boy. Okay. Nah, not gonna eat it. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. That's right. Break it in small pieces if you want. All right. I think that looks pretty good. I'll be able to view the wildlife. I still have some shelter from the rain. If it comes up, right now it doesn't look like it. I see some clouds way over on the horizon. A bank of them to the north there. But I don't know. Hopefully we don't get any. But that's a pretty cool little shelter right there. Yeah. And I'll tell you something that surprised me just a little bit ago. I saw some spiders. Spiders running all over these leaves right here. You know, I guess you get a day when it gets a little bit warmer like this. It's probably reaching pretty close to 50 right now. You know, the spiders come right on out. Plus, whenever I set this up, I got in there and raked all those leaves away and got all the sticks out of the way. A lot of times when you disturb an area, you'll bring things like that up. Nothing like the ticks, though. Oh my goodness. If you decide to do this in the Hoosier National Forest, anytime from late spring all the way to early fall, man, you better have some Sawyer's tick spray on and some mosquito spray on and all kinds of things. Because, I mean, it's bad news. Wow. I was sitting here looking at this. Check out this piece of wood right here. Man, it's just barely on that right there. Coming down. And the old Jazz is standing right underneath it. Well, I had to break the bad news to Jazz. And she didn't like it very much. I don't think we're going to have a fire. I mean, I've got plenty of wood around here. But what really concerns me is all the leaves. I mean, the leaves are thick. Now, they're very wet, especially underneath the first layer of 2 or 3 leaves. It's just wet as can be. So I can't imagine a forest fire starting up. But then again, you know, there's so much awareness these days about starting a forest fire. I actually cleared an area out back here and I thought, okay, well, I'll push all the leaves back as far as I can. But you know what? It's just not worth it, I don't think. Because anything in amber could go up, float over here, land over there somewhere, and all of a sudden I'd have a fire start up. I'm not by a creek anywhere. I couldn't go and bail water out and bring it up and try to splash on it really fast. I think in this case right here, I think it's just going to be a good idea not to have a fire. Now, I did bring my stove, thank goodness, so we can still cook Spam and eggs. Probably do a little bit of toast, buttered toast. But besides that, I think that's about as much as we're going to go tonight. But you know what? It's not really cold out here. Hey, back off, George. Back off, Georgie. What are you doing? What are you doing, huh? as I was setting up the shelter, old Jazz got a nap in. Yeah, that's nice. All right, well, I think that's what we're going to do. Skip the fire, skip the firewood. Too early to eat still. It's the middle of the afternoon. So probably maybe just walk around, hike around a little bit, and see if we can discover anything new out here in the forest. You know, everything looks the same, but you never know. When you start looking out there, we might spot a deer, coyote, something like that walking around. Might be pretty cool. So that's what we're going to do. What's kind of funny is I really don't have a fire even in a campground anymore. I just don't hardly have a fire anymore at all. I don't know. Okay. Jazz, you okay? You all right? All right. All right. That's all right, bud. You're doing good so far. We'll see how you do tonight. Okay? Spooky Jazz. We ended up have a rope and tying everything, all our gear together so they couldn't drag stuff off. Buffalo River. Last 27 miles is a national wildlife refuge.